guys and a gal talking about movies. Two guys and a gal talking about movies. Two guys and a gal, they're talking about movies, and you know they are really groovy. Two guys and a gal talking about movies. Two guys and a gal talking about movies. Two guys and a gal, they're talking about movies, and we know they are really groovy.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition, a live edition, of course, of Two Guys and Sometimes a Gal talking about movies. And your guys, Manny Zamora and Rory Penland, are backstage. One of them is munching on popcorn. I will leave it to you all to guess and predict which one of those that is. So today they will be discussing and ranking their favorite Scarlett Johansson movies. And I didn't know this, but when I looked it up, it said that she is the highest grossing box office star of all time. That just seems amazing. Yeah, somebody Google check me, but that's what it said. I do know that she's consistently ranked one of the most influential people in the world, much less actress. She also was considered, let's see this, check this out, the world's highest paid actress in both 2018 and 2019. That's how amazingly popular and successful Scarlett Johansson is. She's been in so many movies. She's been in movies that you might not even remember that she was in. She's just one of these people who has written the zeitgeist. She plays in the zeitgeist, and she has transformed global culture by being as influential as she is. So without further ado, I will bring up your creator and host, Manny Zamora, and his co-host, Rory Penland, to talk about Scarlett Johansson.
Who else eats popcorn on the show? I ask you, who else eats popcorn on the show? Nobody.
That's right.
I might sometimes eat popcorn. We don't know. Maybe I was popping it as I was talking.
And the show is titled Two Guys and a Gal Talking About Movies. Not sometimes. Not, you know.
I think it's sometimes.
Two guys and a gal talking about movies now. So you can't disappear anymore. You got to stay with us.
That's right.
Okay. That's right. I appreciate that. I love you both so much, and I'm highly addicted to both of you. So,
no social anxiety. Just hang in there.
I have attachment.
We are like a drug.
Attachment. Yes. Which attachment style are you, Rory?
You are the highest paid actress with Cosmos Creative TV.
I'm Scarlett Johansson.
You are the Scarlett Johansson.
Really as you were reading all that stuff about her being the highest paid actress and everything, I was thinking to myself, and then that bitch Margot Robbie came along.
Stole her
thunder. I didn't have to get vindictive.
Ouch.
With that.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to lead off with something about Scarlett Johansson, which is that I don't have like a great relationship with her in that she's not like one of my favorite actresses of all time. But without revealing both of your guys' choices, I will say that one of her earlier roles in Ghost World was highly influential to my development as an artist. And it really was something that gave me a lot of respect for graphic novels, which is, of course, where that came out of. So I loved her in that movie, and that kind of shaped it till today. When I think of Scarlett Johansson, I still think of her in that role. It was just such an iconic movie, and I just loved it. So I wanted to put that out there for anyone who hasn't seen Ghost World and they're used to seeing Scarlett in maybe the Marvel verse and that type of thing. Go back and check out Ghost World. Steve Buscemi, of course, is in there, and that's like one of my favorite roles he's ever done as well. So that's my little recommendation before we get started.
That's my little Steve Buscemi impersonation. Steve Buscemi.
The funny looking. He's funny looking, right?
Funny looking. What do you mean funny looking? I had the same experience with Home Alone 3, which she was in. She was very young in that. And I just said, this girl's going places.
Uh-huh.
So, and I was right.
Absolutely. Manny?
Oh, yes. Sorry,
I was applying lipstick, and I didn't want it to come across as vulgar. So
I see.
You have a fan here, Manny.
Leave me as cover again, are you?
Maybe choke on popcorn.
I was reading somebody said that they love me, so I love you too, whoever you are.
Sexy,
Probably my stalker.
Rory is distracting the audience by being vulgar, because I omitted to be vulgar. He carried that torch. He just took that torch and he kept on running.
It's not
you
vulgar
go.
to put on lipstick.
I know, but it can be distracting for some members of the audience when I've done it before. So
But
I didn't want to
there's a whole fetish about women putting on lipstick. So you've denied all the guys who are like, is she gonna put on
I
lipstick?
didn't.
Is she gonna put on lipstick?
Well,
now?
see, Rory is taking up the torch where I let it down. So,
Okay.
guys, if you want to look at someone applying lipstick, here's your man. Here's your boy. Honestly,
and eating
that's probably
popcorn.
a fetish
Get
too.
lipstick on my popcorn.
And
And
the lipstick at the
yeah,
same
and there's
time.
probably
Yeah.
What was Scarlett
there
Johansson
actually
say?
there's a fetish for everything.
There's a fetish for everything.
There's guys right now drooling over your hair hats. So.
I drool over
fetish
the
for
hair
everything.
hat.
And I
Yeah,
say,
I drool over
and
the
I
hair
say drooling, Anyway,
Dun, dun, shh. And I do want to say this. I do have a little bit of a news item, which is that your Manny Zamora, your creator and host here today, he will be featured on Burn It Down tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern. So everybody hang out after this show.
Awesome. That'll be a great show.
And you're going to get a double dose of Manny. How cool is
Double
that?
dose of Manny, yeah. And there's
Manny
no
Zamora.
cure for that.
There's no cure for the double dose. There's a cure for the single dose, but not the double dose. We needed the booster.
You keep that in your life like luggage.
All right,
Okay.
guys, let's get started.
All right,
with Scarlett.
let's get to
what's your
Scar
first
Joe
pick?
here.
Yes, Manny, tell
first
me your
pick.
first number one pick.
All right, my number one pick is the girl with a pearl earring.
With a pearl earring, yes.
With a pearl earring. I always have to put the in there for some reason.
I always thought the painting was called The Girl with the Pearl Earring as well. And evidently it's Girl with a Pearl Earring, meaning I only have one on.
Yeah.
I
and I was
do
going to
need to
ask
say that Rory, shout out to Rory, because Rory has the iconic art project, which is having an exhibition right now in Florida. And this is one of his pieces, right?
I was just about
I've seen it there.
It is one of the pieces in the exhibition.
Right.
I was told today that most of the 8x10 paintings that I had made up to sell are almost sold out. So I mean, it's taken the city by force.
Yeah.
It's they're loving it. They're enjoying the art, and again, they're buying my merch, which I'm loving.
That's awesome.
So I can't complain.
Yeah.
I did have an accident yesterday. I tripped over a bike at work and completely skinned up my legs.
Ouch.
Yeah, I lost some skin. It was pretty painful. But I'm okay. I'm on ibuprofen, and we're good. I put on long pants this morning to work, so people wouldn't see my gross legs all shredded up.
Yeah.
And it was pretty traumatic when it happened. I was like, I can't believe this. What the heck? Anyway,
I bet.
I digress. Yes, The Girl with the Pearl Earring. She got a lot of award nominations for that.
Yeah.
So great cast: Colin Firth, Tom Wilkinson, as the baddie, Cillian Murphy from Peaky Blinders.
Yeah, Cillian Murphy's in it. So the story, for people who may not know, is basically a story about who the girl in the painting is.
Right.
And in the movie, Scarlett Johansson plays a serving girl, a servant, who is working in the Vermeer household. Johann Vermeer being the artist who painted the painting. And it was a special commission from his patron, played by Tom Wilkinson, who is basically he's sort of the villain of the story. He's not a very nice man, and very kind of over the top, exactly. Yeah, So Scarlett Johansson plays her name is Greased, and she is, like I said, a serving girl or servant in this household, and there's all these little. It's it's not a perfect movie by any means. I mean, it's a really good movie, and she deserves the kudos for playing this part.
The
But
performances are good. The
yeah,
look of the film and the cinematography and the look of the film
gorgeous.
is
Yeah,
like the paintings. It's like, and this is what the director wanted. He wanted it to look
right,
like
exactly.
Vermeer's paintings,
Yeah,
and it's stunning. But
yeah,
unfortunately, it kind of drags.
it does. It's a
It's
little
like it
slow.
doesn't give you the goods, you know. I mean, it wants to be
Yeah,
dramatic,
yeah.
but
Well, there's some subplots
yeah,
that to me were completely unnecessary. Uh, One of Vermeer's daughters, she looks like, I don't know, 12 or 13, maybe a little
yeah.
older, who takes an instant dislike to Grease right from the beginning, and does all these little nasty things, and she has very little dialogue, but she has this look on her face constantly. But that really doesn't go anywhere. I mean, it seems kind of pointless. Her relationship with Cillian Murphy, who is this butcher, or butcher's apprentice or assistant, I don't know exactly. He works in a butcher shop,
Right.
and that goes nowhere. You think they're going to have some hot and heavy romance, and you know it goes nowhere. Vermeer's wife has probably a little bit more, but she's just there to be increasingly jealous of this girl. The one
Yeah, she's okay
really
at
interesting,
first.
yeah, she's okay. It's a little,
Even though he won't let her in his gallery or his art workshop,
yeah,
but he lets Greta, he lets Scarlett Johansson's character in.
right, exactly, yeah. So there's this mounting jealousy, and of course the little girl doesn't help either because she's always like whispering in her ear. The one really interesting character is the mother-in-law, her mother, who rules the roost. You can tell she is you know, she's the Iron Lady here and directs
And
everything.
she's the one that influenced or has him paint or convinces him to paint the housemaid, and she
Right,
gives her the
exactly.
earring too, right?
Yeah, yeah. She gives her the earring, and I don't know how much of the story is true. If they based it on an actual story, nothing.
Nothing.
Well, I mean, it's still a pretty good story. I mean, it's still pretty dramatic. Uh, could it have been better? Oh,
It's
absolutely.
fiction.
But um, and the other thing that really bothered me about the movie, I know, it's like, are we recommending this movie or not?
This was
I
your
do.
number one pick, was it?
It's my number one pick,
It was
and
number 4 on my list.
I still recommend it, but they did make Vernier, the painter, seem just like an absolute weenie. I mean, there's just one really good scene
Colin
between
Firth. Oh,
him.
Renee.
Yeah, I know, right? But there's really one good scene between him and Scarlett Johansson, and that's when he's showing her the camera obscura, and demonstrating how it works and all that stuff. And it's a wonderful scene. And he does kind of defend her a little bit at one point, but at the end, he's like, "Okay, she's got to go,"
Yeah.
So anyway, but yeah, I still
Spoilers.
spoilers, but
Spoilers.
I still recommend the movie. I mean, it's an interesting story. Just be aware there's some plots that go nowhere, but other than that,
Right.
it's interesting. Okay, so what's your
Okay.
number one?
My number one. No ifs, ands, or but it has to be the Avengers, which was
Okay,
not her first take as Romanoff, the Black Widow, but
right,
that's the best performance of her in the whole Marvel series as Romanoff. She's
yeah,
got some fantastic scenes and lines in that movie. When she, at the very beginning, when she's in Russia and they call her up in the middle when she's in the middle of being tortured,
hmm
that's just great. It's fantastic. She's like, yeah, no problem. Yeah, no, he's about to tell me everything. And then at the end, when she's like, how is this supposed to be a party? She's looking at a huge portal that's opening up and giant monsters are coming in. She's like, how is this a party? She just
yeah,
has great stuff going on in that movie. Much better than most of the other performances that she gets in these movies, but she's making gazillions of dollars doing it. So, yeah, it is the character that she will be remembered for right down through film history.
Yeah.
Is Black Widow in the Avengers movies. And
Yeah,
the Avengers 2011, the first one where they all came together, still the best one.
Yeah.
They threw Thanos in the mix, and it's just like, oh, come on, man. This is depressing.
Yeah,
so, that one was
that's what it was all leading up to. It's all leading up to, the big battle with Thanos. But yeah, I agree. The first one was the best one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she was excellent in it.
She got the best stuff in it. She got great dramatic stuff with Jeremy Renner in that.
Right. Yeah.
So, it's just a really, really good performance by her in the Avengers movies. She got the best stuff to do in that one.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So that's why it's number one on my list, because that is the character that really made her a worldwide household name.
Yeah. Okay. Well, good choice. Yeah.
Number 2.
I don't know. I wanted to include the Avengers movies, but I thought, no, I'm gonna go artsy fartsy with this one. some of her lesser known, some more obscure ones. So my
number 2
pick is Lost in Translation.
Okay, that's my number 2 as well.
Oh,
yes.
It's her and Bill Murray, and this is the serious movie that he finally got to make.
Yeah.
Which was a lot better than the first one that he tried making.
This is basically his movie, but if you can hold your own the way she did in that movie with Bill Murray, for crying out loud, she did an awesome job.
Absolutely.
She was great in it. She was great in it.
Now, this one's another. This one's a bit of a slow burn. I mean, it takes a while, and it really, there's no actual plot to it. It's basically it's Bill Murray, who's this kind of older, well-established movie star who's come to Japan to shoot a series of commercials for a Japanese whiskey.
Mm-hmm.
And Johansson is the wife of this photographer played by Giovanni Ribisi, who is basically left on her to her own devices. And so they eventually meet and become very, very close friends. I mean, they don't, well, I'm not going to spoil it for anybody who hasn't seen the movie, but it's a really good movie. Now, like I said,
it's Sofia Coppola directed it.
Sofia Coppola, right? This was one of her redemption movies.
That's funny you should say. I was about to say she redeemed herself from her performance in Godfather 3.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, terrible. So she's a good director. She's a much better director.
A better director. Right. Yeah.
And that was the one she really cut her teeth on.
Yeah. Like I said, it's a little slow. It does move. It's not a big action movie by any means. It's not the Avengers.
No.
But if you
dramatic piece.
If it's dramatic, if you hang in there, Murray and Johansson, at their best. Best.
They have a good chemistry in the film.
Yeah,
a friendly chemistry.
Yeah. Now that I think about it, this really should have been my number one, but yeah,
it probably should have been mine too. But anyway,
so
again, I'm a huge Marvel fan, as you can see below my name, and that one had to be number one for me.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, number 3.
Number 3. What's your number 3?
This one is actually kind of just like a glorified cameo, but she is so powerful in Jojo Rabbit as the mother. Okay. She really is fantastic in this movie. Unfortunately, and I don't want to spoil too much, her character's performance is kind of short. It is during Nazi Germany, and there's a child. The movie surrounds a child who fantasizes, about Hitler being his good friend, and the guy that directed it, Wakiki Tahite. I can never remember his name. It's Wakiki. He's He's a New Zealander, right?
Yeah.
Tahita. Anyway, you know what I'm talking
Yeah.
He plays.
I call him
Hitler.
Waikiki Tahiti.
Wakika Tahiti.
Something like that. Yeah.
There you go. He plays Hitler in it, and he's hysterical. And of course, he became famous from doing What We Do in the Shadows, the movie.
Yes.
That led to the TV show.
Yeah.
And then he got into the Marvel universe in the Thor series. He directed the
Thor
second.
Ragnarok.
I'm sorry, the Ragnarok Thor movie, and he's the rock guy in that one, and a couple of the other films where he just does a cameo. But he's a funny guy. He's a funny guy. He's a funny actor, and he has his moments in this as well. Even though the Hitler thing is kind of a glorified cameo. It's a interesting take on Nazi Germany from a child's mind,
Mm-hmm.
And it's very funny in some parts. It's very dramatic in some parts. And again, Scarlett Johansson just chews up the scenery with her character. She's great. She goes head to head with Sam. Darn it. It's not Sam Waterston. It's the other one. And she went head to head with him in Iron Man 2 as well.
Oh, Sam Rockwell.
Sam Rockwell. There you go.
Yeah.
Thank you. So if you haven't seen Jojo Rabbit, it's a powerful movie. It's a lot of fun in some places, and it's like real wow. I mean, it'll just shock you in some places.
Kind of dark humor.
It's dark humor, and again, some really dark drama as well, because we're talking Nazi Germany.
Well, yeah. Springtime for Hitler.
Not that kind of humor.
Yeah.
It's more like there was a movie directed by Italian director. God, my mind is not working today.
Oh, are you talking about Bernini?
Bernini, yes, Roberto Bernini.
Yeah. And, oh my God, that was.
And the ending where they're walking him away at the end from the kid, and the kid gets to drive the tank.
Yeah.
That kind of powerful, It's like, wow.
Okay. Yeah, that one. Yeah.
I can't remember.
I still have trauma from seeing that movie.
Yeah, it's just like, wow. Yeah, they build up this whole movie where you love this guy, this character, and then they end it like that. It's like, God, man.
Yeah.
But that was the way it was,
Yeah, very, very dark. Yeah.
Can you remember the name of that movie?
Life is Beautiful.
Life is Beautiful.
Life is Beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. My mind just ain't working today. Yeah. Again, I'm on painkillers and from my accident yesterday.
Yeah.
I'm still kind of woozy from the sleeping pill I took last night.
Yeah.
I was like a zombie today at work. Anyway, I digress again. All right, so that was my third pick. What's your third pick?
My third pick is a movie called Don Juan or Don Juan. And it was directed by Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who also stars in it, along with Scarlett there and Julianne Moore. And it's about a guy. He's a Guido. He's a Jersey Shore kind of guy. Picking up on the women.
Eating strawberries with his shirt off.
That's right, strawberries and drinking beer, out on the shore.
Where's Renee?
He's one of those guys. He's
I was wondering how deep you were going to go into the Uncle Nino, and then Billy Vera just sitting there the whole time and just shaking his head and then randomly insulting him is just beautiful.
Hey, I don't
busting his balls. That's
Look at my
not
nipples.
insulting. It's not insulting. It's a level of respect.
Balls over here. Yeah, so Gordon-Levitt plays basically a younger version of that. He's this young guy.
Okay.
And he's a ladies' man, but he's also a porn addict. Or sorry, a popcorn addict. Yeah, we're gonna get demonetized by YouTube for that one. Wait, are we monetized at all? Anyway,
Well, I'm in
so
that business.
he meets, so he meets, or he sees Scarlett, her character in this club, and of course, he's immediately infatuated. He's immediately like, "Oh yeah,
I haven't seen this one, by the way, so.
Oh, okay, so no spoilers.
So I'll have to give it a look.
But anyway, he starts a relationship with her, but he also wants to improve himself. So he starts going to college, and that's where he meets Julianne Moore, and has an interesting relationship with her. But the whole movie is basically about this guy basically growing up and learning that, hey, you know what? There's more to life than popcorn, and really learns how to relate to women better.
And buttered popcorn.
And buttered popcorn at that. And from what I read, he actually wrote that part specifically for Scarlett Johansson, not knowing whether she would take it or not, but eventually she did. And so it's like,
she makes you want to be a better man.
Basically, yeah.
Look at Colin Jost. Whew.
Yeah. Yeah.
A lucky dog.
So anyway, so it's a good movie. I mean, it definitely earned its R rating. There are some graphic scenes in it.
Ooh, I definitely want to see it now. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Popcorn.
Yep. So yeah, it's a good movie. It's an interesting movie.
All right.
And
well,
definitely,
you know that. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, that's it.
So you know that number 4 was Girl with a Pearl Earring for me.
Right.
What was your number 4?
So my number 4 was The Prestige, which, like you said about JoJo, this was basically an extended cameo. But her character, even though at the beginning you think, okay, she's just there as sort of window dressing, but it actually becomes more important to the story. And again, for those who don't know what the movie's about, or as I like to call it, Batman versus Wolverine. For those of you who know your comic book movies.
Oh, I gotta see it now.
It's have you not
seen it?
Movie?
I gotta see it. I gotta see it now. Yeah.
Oh,
it's a
super Christian Bale
thing.
Christian Bale and Hugh Jackman are in it. Michael Caine's in it. So
Michael Caine.
And seriously. And directed by Christopher Nolan. So right there.
Okay. All right.
And Scarlett Johansson. So pretty much, you know, if you watch comic book movies in the last 10 years, this one has everybody in it. And there's a really awesome. And no, they don't. Well, kind of. They were Victorian era costumes.
Is it supposed to be like the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, or
no? Okay. It's Bale and Jackman play these rival magicians in the early part of the century, and Michael Caine is sort of he's the gadget guy. He's the one who kind of comes up with a lot of the tricks.
I've got a lovely bit for you.
What?
I've got a lovely bit here for you.
Pretty much, yeah. Exactly.
I want to do a TikTok with Michael Caine doing a line that was cut out of Batman. Master Wayne, I don't want you to die out there dressed in a bloody Batman costume, wearing a rubber bat costume. It would be very embarrassing.
That is a great line. And yeah, they should have kept that in the movie. But
he does a scene where he actually talks about, I don't want to lose another Master Wayne or something like that in one of the movies. But twist it to where it becomes like, it'll be embarrassing if they kill you and you're in a Batman costume.
Yeah.
Just stop it. Don't do it. Where's Renee?
I'm right here. I'm looking at Jonathan Duncan on YouTube. He's laughing his butt off. We love you, Jonathan Duncan. In Tasmania.
That was great. That was great.
Yeah.
Also, tomorrow on It's Casual, we got 2 Australian performers, Mr. Duncan. two crooners from way back when in my history days, and they know me from China, and they're both in Oz now, and they'll be on the show tomorrow night. So anyway,
That's gonna
sorry,
be
shameless plug. Shameless plug.
No, that's very good. Tomorrow at 6
Hey.
p.m. Eastern, everybody.
That's right.
Yeah.
So please tune in.
So that's Wednesday morning, your time.
That's right. It'll be Wednesday.
They'll be in
morning.
the future. Australians live in the future.
They do. I always think about that. I always say that, and
Yeah.
nobody ever really finds that shocking, but it's true.
I
Yep.
know.
It's so weird. And the Hawaiians live in the past.
That's right.
They're
Hawaiians
way
live in the
ahead of us.
past. So. Anyway.
Number 5.
Oh, no, I wanted to just one last
I'm
thing.
sorry. Prestige.
David Bowie has a really awesome extended cameo as Nikola Tesla in the Prestige, and so look out for that. And Andy Serkis is in this movie as well, not as himself, but without any sort of prosthetic thingamajig. So
Another
it's a
Alfred.
great cast. It's a great movie. If you love anything about magicians, or if you just like, Christian Bale and Hugh Jackman and Michael Caine and ScarJo, check this movie out. So
it sounds interesting.
I love when Manny brings up the movie, like those deep cuts that he's talking about, like the Don John thing I never even heard of. So now I want to see that. I want to see that. And then the Prestige, for whatever reason, I mean, I do like magic stuff, and it seems like something I'd be interested in, but I just, for whatever reason, never even heard of it.
Well, and again, this week I'm looking for Scarlett Johansson movies for the show to watch that I haven't seen yet. And again, there were so many of them that I was like, oh, I didn't know she did that. Oh, I don't know.
I know.
She was in the island? She was in the island.
I think that's why she's the highest paid, because I think she just works nonstop. I don't know when she's not working. She's
and again, a lot of these films were before, her Marvel days.
Right.
So, she was working hard when she got the part of Romanoff. And that just shot her up to the top shelf.
That's right. Yeah.
So,
top of the morning to you, mate. He said it's early
It's
Tuesday here now. Yeah.
8:30 a.m.
He's a time traveler. What's the future like? Tell us some future.
Are there flying cars in Australia?
Do we have the flying cars? Is there a robot making me the eggs in the kitchen?
Tell us the lottery numbers.
Okay, what number are we at?
We're at 5.
I think we're at number 5. Okay,
Yeah.
Rory, what's your number 5?
My number 5 was Her, which is more of a Joaquin Phoenix movie.
Joaquin.
But she, in really weird stretch pants. But she was the voice of his AI assistant. In the movie, and they form a relationship. He falls in love with his AI assistant, his Siri or whatever it is that she is. He falls in love with her, and he tells his friends. His friends are like, "Oh, how lovely," And it turns into a thing where people are falling in love with their AI assistants and all. And then, I won't tell you the ending, but Johansson actually. It's an interesting performance. She got an Academy Award nod for it, and because she can't have emotion because she's like AI, right? And yet you're getting, you're kind of getting the dramatic connection between the two of them, and it's just a very different, interesting performance. And she definitely deserves a spot on the list for voicing that part of that movie.
And this was early on, really, with the AI chatbots, and then it sort of foreshadowed the future, where now, of course, this is happening all the time. We even have Instagram influencers who they use AI to become a chatbot based on their personality for their fans. They charge them by the minute to chat with them as if they're the girlfriend. And they're making money while they're sleeping because so many people, even though they know it's just a chatbot, it's technically based on
somebody to talk to. Yeah.
So, but it's actually happening. People are making tons of money this way. So it kind of foreshadowed this. I remember when this movie came out, and some people were saying, "Oh, that'll be the future," and some people were saying, "Oh gosh, that'll never actually happen." And we're there. We are there.
We're there.
I talk
And
to
again,
Siri
there are
all the
guys
time.
in Japan that are marrying robot wives, So go figure.
All I know is that when I'm using the Siri or whatever the thing is, when I'm navigating in the car, and it just, what does it say? Proceed to the route. Like if you take the wrong turn, proceed. Gosh, it's so annoying. I can't imagine ever thinking I
Rerouting.
have an emotional connection to that
I
thing.
told you that my AI Siri hates me.
Yeah.
It's an
She
She takes
anti-relationship.
me long routes, sometimes scenic routes, takes me on toll routes and stuff. Just because I yell at her, I cuss at her. Sorry, what's wrong with you? Why did you take me this way? I'm sorry, I don't understand that. I'm sorry, I can't answer that right now.
I swear they're fucking with us
Bitch!
intentionally. I think it's intentional.
So no, yeah. Well, again, they programmed
you
it
off the
to,
road.
yeah, to kind of respond to that by, I guess, the way that they interact with you.
Mm-hmm.
You have
So
arrived
if you're
at
mean to your
destination.
Siri, that Siri might not do the things the way
That's
you
right.
want.
See,
It'll be a feisty
I, for
Siri.
one,
very feisty. Yes.
I, for one, welcome our new robot masters. So, well, women have been using artificial boyfriends for a while. So, hey, it's only fair. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
All right.
Let's
five
talk about the weird
list.
characters that Johansson has played.
Wait a minute. I got my number 5.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Jumping the gun here, Penland.
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 I love that. That made a good sound to it. I like the way that was cool.
Watch it there, Penland.
Watch it, Penland.
Watch it, Penland.
Watch it, Zamora.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know. Believe me.
That's a great name.
That.
Zamora is like the best name ever. I just love it.
Well,
so
Zamora.
It's a
Zamora.
It's a state
That's
in
Zamora.
It's a region in Spain, by the way.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, I think that's where the name came from. But anyway, so my number 5 is Ghost World, which you mentioned at the beginning of the show.
Thank you.
And was, I think, Rory's number 1. Or no, it wasn't. But or maybe Raptor. Anyway, Ghost World.
Ghost World, yes.
So the actual star of the movie was supposed to be Thora Birch, who plays Enid. But it's Scarlett Johansson who became the big major star out of the movie.
Right.
And it's a wonderful movie. Like you said, Renee, it's based on a graphic novel by David Close, who also wrote the screenplay. He didn't direct; somebody else directed, but it's just wonderful. And Steve Buscemi, his character, very this kind of nerdy guy that Thora Birch's character becomes involved with, and Scarlett's the very serious one of the two. And I just absolutely, the first time I saw this movie, I just absolutely fell in love with it. All the characters, I watched it, I don't know how many times. I became so obsessed with this movie. I bought the soundtrack.
Yeah.
I bought the original, the graphic novel, and I bought the screenplay.
Yeah. No, that was my experience too, Manny. That was my experience too. I went totally crazy for it because it just was so perfect. And I think it reminded me a little bit of like my teenage years in a way. And it was something I could relate to. And just speaking as a woman as well, I want to interject this here is that I loved seeing 2 adolescent women characters portrayed as human beings.
Yeah.
And they weren't just there to be like, in fact, I didn't know. I mean, of course, I'm a heterosexual female. So of course, things are constantly, I have no idea what like men are looking for. But I remember when I watched that, even I didn't know Scarlett Johansson was supposed to be pretty. I actually thought she was really plain Jane, like the leading lady there. And that made me feel so good. I felt like, wow, like they're not even choosing actresses that are like feeding into some kind of a male stereotype. The graphic novel absolutely did that. And I thought that was so beautiful, and it just was like freeing. Just, you know, imagine being a member of like an oppressed class and you're constantly being boiled down to this monochrome, oh, are you sexy or not sexy or whatever the heck. And then there is on a big screen, you have, and then Steve Buscemi too, who is wildly attractive, I think, in his own right. A lot of women like him because he's very authentic in his acting and his passion and all that. But, you know, he's not what you think of as like a GQ model. And I just loved their real life. And it really spoke to me about just like kind of like a day in the life. Like this is the type of stuff me and my friends, when we were kids, we would find some like older person who was interesting and had a cool record collection. And we would just sort of like hang out with them, you know, and I just loved how platonic things were. And I loved how open things were and how authentic. It just seemed so perfect. And that was my introduction to graphic novels. Like there, but for that movie, I would have never even really like cared about the genre of graphic novels. So I think about it all the time.
Yeah. Well, good. We're on the same page on that one.
Absolutely. Yeah. And Jonathan Duncan says he loves Ghost World. So there you go.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Gonna have to watch it.
Please watch it, please.
Yeah.
But you might not like it, Rory, because it's kind of more like they like slice of life. It's kind of, you know, it's not Marvel, you know. There's not a lot of action. So I don't know. You might
like
hate
dramatic things too. But
I know
I
you
like
Lost in
entertaining movies,
Translation.
but I like dramatic things too. And I like. Come on now.
All right.
I
Okay.
know
Watch me on this show for how long?
I know you
Still gonna
do.
because
But it isn't,
Avengers
like,
was
don't
number
expect
one.
anything to,
What?
like-
Avengers number
Avengers.
one.
That's right.
It's got Tom Hiddleston.
I love me some Tom Hiddleston.
Mhm.
Yeah. I mean, he won't ever replace my man crush Jude Law, but he's up there. He's up there.
I like Jude Law and AI. Opposite Haley Joel Osment.
that was a good one. Yeah.
He was good. He was like the version of her. He was the AI gigolo. Yeah.
Just the gigolo. Okay, Rory.
Let's go. Let's do it.
Gallery of weird characters.
Oh, here we go.
For some reason, Hollywood seems to call Scarlett Johansson when a really weird female character is the main character of a movie. Under the Skin, she plays an alien who is, you know, experimenting with sex. It's kind of strange, and a lot of full frontal nudity in that movie, and really creepy, weird, you know, walking backwards and guys walking into black floors that become black water and shrivel up into skins. It's just kind of weird. Anyway, so she's an alien in that. Then in Lucy, she they kind of took the what was the Bradley Cooper film? With the pill that you take, huh?
Limitless.
It was like 3 years after Limitless, they took it to the next level. You know, saying, "Oh, what would happen if a person actually used 100% of their brain function and capacity?" And she ingests some chemical that does that for her. And the beginning of that movie is so brutal. Whoa. And again, it's just by the end of the movie, it's a really strange character. She goes from human to, you know, this weird kind of subhuman thing.
Yeah.
And then there's Ghost in the Shell.
Ghost in the Shell. I was going to mention
where
that
she
one,
plays a robot, you know, a robot girl. And I mean, it's very Blade Runner-ish. And again, just very strange, bizarre, weird characters popping out here and there, and just brutal violence, and it's just, again, these all these kind of blend together in this you know, collage of very, very strange, strong lead characters, female lead characters, and that's probably not going to be the last one she does.
Probably not. Yeah. Well, I got to say, Ghost in the Shell caused a bit of controversy with her casting because, you know, it's based on an anime movie that's you know, kind of legendary almost. And the original character of the colonel was actually the major. Sorry, was actually supposed to be Japanese.
Japanese.
But of course,
they kind of try to make her look Asian in it, but
with the dark
Scarlett
hair.
Johansson.
But I didn't have a problem with it. I didn't feel like it was it's whitewashed or whatever.
Ghost in the Shell was not as trippy as the other two films I mentioned.
Yeah. I've only heard of Under the Skin.
That was like a cakewalk compared to Lucy and Under the Skin.
Yeah. Now I've seen Lucy. And it's almost a precursor to Black Widow, her kind of action moves. I haven't seen Under the Skin though. I've heard, so I may watch that.
Actually, Under the Skin, I think, was before the Avengers, but Lucy wasn't. I think she actually had done some rom-com before, so that probably led to her getting that role. Because it is a like an action film up until like the last 15 minutes. I mean, it's an action film then too, but her part in it has just become so weird and digitally and bizarre.
Yeah. Well, speaking of bizarre,
there's Morgan.
Did you ever see? Yeah.
Morgan Freeman.
And of course, the whole premise of we only use 10%. That's been proven false. So, we use everything. Did you ever see a movie called The Spirit?
I have.
Okay, she was in that as well.
Yes. And that was one of those films I went, she was in that? That was terrible.
Yes.
One of the worst comic book renditions of a character, I think, ever. Not even Samuel L. Jackson can save that movie. No. That was one of the worst. Oh my God, that was a stinker.
Very, very disappointing. And
they tried
I get it.
They tried to do like Sin City.
Sin City, yeah.
And Sin City was actually pretty decent. And that one, it was just like,
Yeah. Well, Frank Miller, he wrote and drew Sin City and had a hand in the movie.
Yeah.
And so he thought, hey, you know what? I could make a movie of my own. I could, and no.
Did he direct that?
Did he
direct The Spirit?
He directed The Spirit.
Really?
Yes.
Well, he made all the wrong moves on
Stick
that
the
one.
Comic books.
He made all the wrong moves on that one. Man, that was a stinkeroo.
It was like, oh man.
I'll have to go back and look at that again just to remember how bad it was. Because I remember watching it. I was throwing popcorn at the TV. I was like, come on.
Yeah. But
so that got a dishonorable mention.
Yeah. Scarlett did a movie. Actually, I was going to say she is like Jodie Foster before her. She's one of the few child actors who transition to adult roles fairly easily, fairly quickly.
Yeah.
And one of her earliest roles, even before Ghost World, was in a movie called The Man Who Wasn't There with James Gandolfini and Billy Bob Thornton. It was a Coen Brothers movie. You probably wouldn't like it because it's black and white. I don't know if you ever think about black and white movies.
I remember skimming through it one time, but I had forgotten that she was in it at all.
Yeah.
Oh man, it was so good. I wanted to come up to that movie. It was stunning. I actually didn't remember that she was in that at all. Like I just didn't even.
Yeah. It was so good, right? They were doing like a detective.
Yeah.
Like gumshoe thing.
It was almost, but not quite a remake of Blood Simple, but which was one of the Coen Brothers' earliest movies.
Yeah, that was one of their first.
Yeah, but Billy Bob Thornton plays a barber, I believe, and he winds up blackmailing James Gandolfini, who's a bit of I guess kind of a gangster, right?
Yeah.
And I think, if I remember correctly, Scarlett Johansson plays his daughter.
Okay.
I just remember her playing a piano for some reason. I'll have to go back and watch it. I have it on.
But the acting is like fantastic. So like if you're studying acting or you're trying to get into like dramatic acting, and it's really, I highly recommend it for that, because the cast and Coen Brothers, come on. So it's like so great. Like another one, Barton. What's the one I'm thinking about with Tony Shalhoub and gosh, about the writer. There's another Coen Brothers that's in black and white. Barton something or
Barton Fink.
Barton Fink.
No, that was
That's another one that's like, you know, just a
color.
master class of how to do dramatic acting.
James Goodman, is that, or John
Goodman. Goodman's in it. Goodman. So good. He is so good as a dramatic actor. Like totally.
He's in most of their stuff.
John Turturro. Yeah.
We haven't done a Coen Brothers show
yet. Another Coen Brothers
JD was we have not done a Coen Brothers yet.
No, we haven't. I'll have to add them. Actually, she was in another Coen Brothers movie here recently that didn't really get a lot of play. I think it didn't really do as well. Hail Caesar with George Clooney. She was in that.
That's like not even on my radar. Weird. I'll have to look that up.
Yeah, see, it's
Hail Caesar. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll have to look that up.
Forgot she was in it completely because there were so many people in that. I mean, there was like a bazillion actors.
Exactly. Josh Brolin is in it, and
okay.
You know,
interesting.
Yeah, it's not one of their better movies, but interesting.
The best scene was when they're trying to get the cowboy actor to do the upscale British would did it twir. Trying to get him to do a scene in the movie, and then they show the movie clip later, and he's perfect. But it's like a 10-minute scene of him just completely botching the line. Would did it twir? It sounds terrible.
Yeah.
And the director is Ray Fiennes, and you can just see the tension ratcheting up, but he's trying to be polite because it's a movie star.
Yeah.
That scene alone is worth watching the whole.
I'm gonna look it up.
You have to watch it.
I can't believe I missed that one.
If you love anything about movies, and this takes place, I think the 50s, 40s or 50s,
right?
During the Red Scare and all that,
right?
There's an element of that involved with, and the blacklists and all that.
Correct.
It's definitely worth watching.
But they also poke fun at stuff that happened, like John Wayne's cameo in one of the religious films, like the where he's looking up at Jesus on the cross. And it's John Wayne, so it's like, is this the Christ that I see before me?
Yeah.
And I think Clooney is that character. I think Clooney does it.
Yeah. It's the greatest story ever told.
God?
Max von Sydow played Jesus in that one.
What?
Yeah.
This is like this is like a part of culture. I have no idea.
We're introducing you to all these.
Yeah, I've never. I have no idea. Okay.
Yeah, but it's kind of that very Cecil B. DeMille kind of.
Yeah. It's like
throw everybody into it.
Played a part in
it. Max von Sydow playing Jesus.
Oh, okay.
With shoulder-length hair, by the way, it was kind of this weird.
Interesting choices here. All right.
And yes, John.
There was another one with Jeffrey Hunter, who went on to become
King of Kings.
King of Kings, who went on to become the first Captain Pike on Star Trek.
Right.
Really?
The Pike character is very famous now because they have a TV show.
Yeah,
they portrayed him in a couple of the movie reboots.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I've never seen
captain of the Starship Enterprise for the pilot.
That's right. Yeah,
I didn't know that.
And then they got Shatner. They got 24, 17, 22 times. Done.
I always think about the guy from Deep Purple playing Jesus in Jesus Christ Superstar, the cinematic version of. I have never, and this is just. I'm just gonna look. I just have to say this. Why can't anyone ever cast a Jesus that looks remotely normal? Or I've never seen anyone do it. Like, it's always some weird choice that, like, to me is like, what the? I've just never seen it. I've never been happy. I mean, not like you can fill those shoes.
The weirdest choice to me was Willem Dafoe playing Jesus in Last Temptation of Christ.
Oh, okay. I'm trying to remember.
Devil, he's got it hands down. But no, Christ.
Yeah, playing Jesus? Yeah. I think Christian Bale played him in a movie once.
Really?
No, it wasn't Christian Bale. It was somebody else.
Why is it so hard? Like, let me
Jim Caviezel.
I got to get this off my chest. I'm just going to get it. It's always an effeminate choice, and it's always like the long hair, and then it's always British. Like, what? Why is it always British? And then if it's not the British accent, it's some fake, like, random.
Von Sydow was Dutch?
It's
Or-
always like
Yeah,
a
he's
weird
Dutch.
accent that
Yeah.
makes no sense. And I'm just like, gosh, like, why is it that hard? Like, that's my question. Why is it that hard to?
But he played
Speaking,
chess with
speaking of
death.
British,
So
yeah, one of my
it
favorite
makes it-
Jesus. One of my favorite Jesuses
Jesus's.
is Robert Powell in when he did the miniseries. What was
Trying
it
to think of
called?
that. I'm not good with names, so
It was
They made
Franco,
him look
Franco
Middle Eastern,
Zeffirelli
right?
directed it. Huh?
They made him look Middle Eastern, right?
but why can't they just hire a Semitic actor and have the hair be normal? And why can't he have a baritone
Well,
voice?
Jesus
I
is
don't get
white
it.
and he's American. Don't you know that?
White with brown hair, blondish brown hair.
Do you know how
Right.
many actors
And
are
beard.
Semitic? Do you know how many? There must be millions of them. You can't choose one Semitic actor. Even Mel Gibson, when he did The Passion, he was like, it's going to be so accurate, and we speak Aramaic, and it's so accurate. And then it's like all these white people, like,
And he's never
come
gotten in trouble for
on.
anti-Semitism. No,
No.
It's just bizarre.
I do have,
like, it's bizarre.
yeah, but I do have to give him credit, though. I do have to give him credit. I mean, I hated the movie, but I do credit him for at least having everyone speak in the language.
I loved that. That's what I'm saying. I
That
loved the
part,
Aramaic,
I
the
got it.
Latin.
The rest
Like,
of
I
it
thought that
was
was
just torture porn.
amazing. Yeah. No, I liked that too. I really liked that too.
Yeah.
But he made a big deal about how accurate everything was. And then whoever played the Virgin Mary, he said, "Oh, she's Jewish." Yeah, but she was European Jewish. And so to me, you're still casting Europeans. And then of course, Caviezel is I think he's Italian descent, which is at least Mediterranean-esque. But come on, he's American. Come on, look at a map. Here's Palestine. Gosh, it just irks me. It just bothers me. I know you're not going to get it perfect, but come on, at least try. At least try. Okay, I'm done.
We could do an entire show.
Jeffrey
on
Hunter with
movies
those
about
deep
Jesus.
blue eyes, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna stand down now.
No,
I think if I casted it and it was like all Ukrainians all the time,
a valid
why is everyone
beef.
so obsessed with their own culture? Like, I'm gonna have a whole biopic of Jesus, and it's gonna just be a bunch of Ukrainians. Like, it's the same thing. What's the difference?
I think you should.
There's gotta be a bunch of Anglophiles wearing robes.
Like, look at where Britain is. Here's where Britain is. Here's where Palestine is.
Why is every Roman in every movie always British?
Yeah, like they're always British, and they look British. I mean,
Stab
British
him with
people
the
are an
spear.
ethnicity. They look very British.
That's it. Stab him with the spear.
That's right.
Let's get this over with. Then put him in the cave.
Yeah, it's like watching. I think that's the problem. Is I keep thinking I'm watching The Life of Brian every time I'm watching, and I'm supposed to be, especially as a Christian, I'm supposed to I want to at least get in and feel some respect. And I never get there because it's just a bunch of British people.
There's no Messiah here.
And I love British people. I love British people. Enough is enough. Enough is enough.
Oh my goodness.
Anyways, okay, we're coming up on this. Are we?
I don't know how we got here from Scarlett Johansson. But
I don't because I got angry.
I don't.
I got angry.
It's your fault.
That's why we need to have you up here because it goes off on these great wild tangents, and I love them.
Because you brought up John Wayne in the religious movie, and it just went off from there.
It went off from there. Hey, why is it that God, Jesus, doesn't look Mediterranean? Come on. He's from Jerusalem.
And then the thing that bothers me is you'll have these random people who are like KKK members, and then they get mad if the person is like African American who plays them in a play or something. Like, that's where they draw the line. And yet, if you look at the map, you look at Africa, and then you look at Britain way up here. And then they're like, it's not accurate because he wasn't African. It's
I'm laughing because every time they do the wise men in a movie, there's always one tall black guy.
There's always there's always one black
guy.
guy.
Okay, we'll throw one in there. He'll be one of the wise men.
Well, I think one of them was
with the frankincense.
Yeah. even though the wise men in the Bible, in the scriptures, they're not named, and it's more than just three. There's a whole bunch of them.
Where does frankincense come from? Where does
I
Mir come
apologize.
from?
Okay, Jonathan Duncan. I love you, Jonathan Duncan, and that's so true. He talked about the iconography around the image of
plant, I
Jesus is
think.
just ingrained in the pop culture. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's
One of
really
the
what it
best
is.
ones,
It's
though.
really
One
it's
of the,
the Renaissance European Jesus with like the long hair and the that's
yeah.
just
Well, yeah, even Da Vinci did it.
yeah, we're still there, I think, which makes sense because if you're pre-internet and you're pre all of that and like you don't have any other people to imagine, it makes sense that you're doing that. But I don't understand why now we're still doing it when it's such a global society. It's just weird.
Well, that image of Jesus, actually, I believe the model was actually one of the Medicis.
Mm.
And that's why we get the white Jesus from.
Okay, yeah. That's
So,
right. That's
anyway.
true.
With the hawk nose, the Medicis were notorious for having sharp noses.
Yeah. So
interesting.
But there's a movie called The Gospel of Matthew. It was made by an Italian director, and it's actually pretty good. If you want to see a movie, fairly
Okay, all right, I'll check
one of
that
the
out.
better movies about
Thank you.
based on the Gospels, the Gospel of Matthew.
Well,
I
I'll
want to
look
say
that up
Bertolucci.
definitely.
I don't remember.
I'll look that up.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to give a quick shout out to Scarlett Johansson for being Janet Leigh in Hitchcock.
Okay.
And Ka the Snake, which was an interesting casting choice in The Jungle Book, which that movie didn't really work for me. Yeah, Christopher Walken as a giant King Louis. Kid, I want to be like, yo, I'm a giant orangutan. They don't explain why I'm the size of King Kong. But she was actually interesting as Ka the Snake.
Yeah.
She was hypnotizing. So, it deserved a mention.
Yeah, not up there with Louis Prima as the orangutan.
Oh, man. You can't beat Louis Prima as King Louis.
So
they tried, but no. They did have Bill Murray as Baloo the Bear, though.
No, that makes sense. That makes sense.
And bring it.
Yeah. All right. Are we doing any reviews, or are we calling it a night?
I was going to read some reviews for Scarlett, the girl with the pearl earring, but no.
No? Okay.
We talked it out already.
All righty. Miss Renee?
Yeah, I'm good either way. If you have some reviews, then
no.
Well, it's just funny that when I was reading up on it, it said it got mostly favorable reviews, and then all the reviews I read, they were kind of snarky. It was little backhanded compliments, And I mean, I wouldn't have called it a favorable review. Okay, let me tell you what
let's hear something.
I got it pulled up here. Let me.
Okay, well let me run the
run that intro.
Let me run the little. I have it ready, so let me. Well, don't do anything yet, Rory. Hold on.
All right.
Well, he's looking stuff up.
So. I got it here right here.
Hold on. Here we go.
So while we're waiting. Oh, there he goes. All
right. So yeah, it says here that it got mostly favorable reviews. But to Rotten Tomatoes gave it a 73% based on 179 reviews with an average score of 6.90. The website reported the critical consensus as visually arresting, but the story can be told with a bit more energy. Sumptuous design and incredible Vermeerish appearance, but felt like it's a bit too much like watching paint dry. The Observer's Philip French referred to the film as quiet, intelligent, and well acted, and believed that most people will be impressed by and carry away in their mind's eye the film's appearance. Susan Hodgetts described the film as a superior British costume drama that expertly mixes art history with romantic fiction, which would appeal to anyone who likes serious, intelligent drama and gentle, erotic tension. Hodgetts said that both Firth and Johansson gave excellent performances and did a grand job of expressing feelings and emotions without the use of dialogue, and the picture is better for it. Elvis Mitchell, Elvis, of the New York Times called the film an earnest, obvious melodrama with no soul, filled with the longing silences that come after a sigh. Mitchell did, however, laud its cinematography, production design, and musical score, as did the Film Journal International's Erica Abiel. Despite praising its visuals, Abiel criticized Girl with a Pearl Earring for being a chick flick dressed up as in old master's clothes, and for failing to render Griette's growing artistic sensibility dramatically credible. He cited its melodramatic villain as another failing, but concluded that it was to Johansson's credit that she alone pulls something plausible out of her character. Build individual moments such as the crackle of a bedsheet, which has grown an ice overcoat after being hung out to dry in the winter air, but opined that he failed to invest these elegant reproductions of the art of the period with the emotional charge you've been set up to expect. Griette and Vermeer's relationship lacked the sense of two people breathing easily in one another's company. So it's not, again, you can't really call these favorable. I mean, they do, again, give credit for the visuals and the cinematography and the performances, but then they, kind of backhand slap you with, yeah, but it's like watching paint dry. Johansson's marvelous performance builds on the complex innocence of her screen presence. Ghost World, Lost in Translation. Jay's concluded his review by praising Weber and Sarah's ability to deftly deploy daylight, candle, and shadow, denying our desire to see clearly, just as Vermeer refused to explicate the situations in his paintings. All right, so again, not the greatest reviews, but I mean, it's not Pauline Kael from the New Yorker.
Right. Yeah. There's one last movie that I got to mention that I saw, and it's called A Good Woman, and it actually stars Helen Hunt, and it's set in the 1930s, and mostly in Italy. And Scarlett plays she's a newlywed. She and her husband are on holiday in this little Italian village. And Helen Hunt plays this older woman who is she has caused all this scandal in New York for being with married men, and so she has escaped to Italy, and so all the rumors and all the scandals follow her, and so her life and Johansson's character life kind of intersect, and that's all I'm going to say about this movie. But it's not. I mean, I saw it once and I liked it, but it's not something that I would watch again. I mean, once you've seen this movie, it's like, okay, I get it.
You've seen it. It's done.
Seen it, but I got to say that the best performance in this movie is from Tom Wilkinson again, who was in Girl. Also,
yeah.
But he plays a much nicer, much more lovable character in this movie, and his and Helen Hunt's relationship is just the best in this movie, and so I recommend it. But like I said, it's not one that's going to stick with you forever, but for what it is and watching it, yeah, I don't regret watching it. It's just not something that I'd watch again because it's like, okay, well, I know what happens now.
Well, I'm so happy for her that she found Colin Jost. He seems like a nice guy, and he'll keep her happy, I think. and there won't be any of that jealousy thing going on. You know, I work in Hollywood, you work in New York, that kind of thing. You know,
Right.
I don't think so. So, Pete Davidson, that's another story. I don't know how that guy ends up with the people he ends up with. Man,
Don't know.
he must have a great publicist.
Did you say Pete Davidson?
Yes.
Yes, he does have a great publicist. It's Ariana Grande, because because he got engaged to her.
Yeah.
And then she
so he's got Ariana Grande's publicist.
So when they were breaking up or whatever, but anyway, she made a quip about the size of his manhood being really big. And then he used that as leverage, and it gave him this thing called BDE, which leveled him up. And this is a true thing, though. It's like guilty by association.
That explains Kim Kardashian.
Yeah, no, that's what it is. That's what happened with Russell Brand. Russell Brand was a big nobody, and Kate Moss saw his first appearance on the Jonathan Ross show, and she had a one-night stand with him or whatever, and he woke up the next day famous just because Kate Moss had taken him home. So that's what happened with
Liam Neeson. Basically, the same thing happened when he went to Hollywood.
Yeah.
BDE.
BDE.
They say Milton Berle had a third leg.
But it's more than just that legend. Yeah, so it is that legend about like the BDE thing, but it's also just the fact that a woman who has juice. So Ariana Grande was at the top of her game when she was engaged to him. That made him level up. Russell Brand with Kate Moss.
Oh yeah.
So it's just about who you're associated with, and then everybody turns their head and say, "Well, what did Ariana see in this guy at Saturday Night Live?" You know, like. And the other thing, too, is that he lost his father as a hero in 9/11, and that gave him a lot of respect, you know, so he was kind of famous for that as well. A lot of New Yorkers really respect him for that.
He is very funny, too.
And he is very funny, too. Yeah, I don't think he's like the funniest guy. But that's how the marketing department worked. So basically, she promoted him and gave him that platform. And now he's considered like extremely desirable.
Gomez. Kim Kardashian.
Yep. Yeah.
I think he's still with her, isn't he?
No. That's
they broke up.
You're so last year, Rory.
They broke up. That's over and done with.
These are publicity.
I haven't heard anybody new with him. You know, because he's not on.
No. There is. There's someone new. It's just somebody I haven't heard of. But yeah, there's somebody new. Yeah. The right dance partner, JD. That's what it is. Anyways, I wanted to remind everyone to please stay put, because Manny is going to be featured. It's a spotlight on Manny on Burn It Down. I will be playing Tom Chesh, and he will be playing me, and Manny will be there. So I'm going to open the show as Tom Cheshire.
Man, that should be interesting, man.
Hey, the beautiful cucumbers. Hey, man. Yeah, I got to work on my Tom Cheshire between now and then.
Yeah.
What does that say under your name?
GBGB, glory be good.
Oh, GBGB.
Glory be good. Yeah, I was rushing. I was lazy, and I was rushing.
What is that?
Yes, Jonathan Duncan is going to be there watching you, Manny. There you go.
Oh, awesome! Yeah,
thank you.
And I am going to do my Tom Cheshire impression. So
that's great. I love it.
Just be ready for that.
You're gonna go overtime, man.
That's right.
And then tomorrow it's casual, everybody. It's casual tomorrow.
It's casual.
Yes.
It's not formal.
With Philip Player and Steve Walker coming on the show from Australia.
Right. Awesome.
All the way from Australia.
International show.
Australia, mate.
Nice.
That's right.
Kind toads and kookaburras. That's all I know.
That's right.
That's the only thing I know.
You know, everybody says throw another shrimp at the barbie.
How about the dangerous, deadly koalas?
The koalas, that's right. Jump on your head.
You ever see the claws on them suckers? They're deadly dangerous.
Suckers. I love it.
That's right.
All right. Good night, everybody. I'm going to go eat real quick. Bye.
Yeah.
Me too.
I got to make dinner too.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for watching this episode of Two Guys and Sometimes a Gal Talking About Movies. Be sure to like, subscribe, and click that notification bell to get future episodes.